In the tranquil, affluent suburb of Cottonwood Heights, Utah, the home of Matthew Johnson and Jennifer Gledhill stood as a symbol of achieved success. To their neighbors and the wider community, they embodied a flawless modern family, a decorated Special Forces Green Beret, a dedicated mother of 3 young children, and a shared life within the walls of a $1 million property. Matthew, at 51, carried the quiet, assured demeanor of a soldier who had served his country with the Army National Guard's 19th Special Forces Group for over a decade. His commitment was not just professional, but personal, earning him deep respect and trust from his unit. Jennifer, 42, cultivated an image of domestic devotion, often described as a kind, reserved homebody who centered her world on her children and supported her husband's military career. This carefully maintained portrait of harmony and stability was accepted without question by those around them. The couple attended community events, shared family photos depicting smiles and togetherness, and presented a united front that masked the growing fissures within their private life. For years, this performance succeeded, allowing the profound disconnect between their public and private realities to remain hidden. The very ordinariness of their outward existence, the minivan in the driveway, the children's toys on the lawn, the quiet routines of suburban life made the eventual revelation of what transpired inside that home all the more difficult for anyone to comprehend. The contrast between the pristine exterior and the internal collapse would become a central, tragic element of the case, illustrating how isolation and dysfunction can fester unseen behind the most conventional of doors. The fracture in the Johnson-Gledhill marriage, long concealed, began to surface legally in the summer of 2024. By July, the couple had privately discussed divorce, a conversation signaling the end of their partnership. In August, Jennifer initiated a more aggressive legal maneuver by filing for a temporary protective order against Matthew, alleging she needed protection from him. This petition brought their private conflict into the stark light of the 3rd District Court. However, when Commissioner Russell Minus reviewed the evidence Jennifer submitted, including videos and extensive text message records, his analysis contradicted her narrative. He observed that Jennifer appeared unafraid and was an active, confrontational participant in the recorded interactions. The text messages, he noted, revealed a pattern where Jennifer was repeatedly berating, belittling, and demeaning toward Matthew, at times seemingly attempting to provoke a reaction from him. On September 16th, Commissioner Minus dismissed the protective order, ruling that no abuse had occurred. His written statement, however, extended beyond a simple dismissal. It served as a stark admonition. He described a highly dysfunctional marriage bringing out the worst in the parties and stated that an action for divorce should have been filed long before reaching the current state of affairs. This ruling was a pivotal moment. It legally removed a shield Jennifer had sought and publicly framed their relationship as toxic and irreparable. Unbeknownst to the court, this judgment, intended to push the couple toward a civil legal dissolution, may have instead pushed Jennifer toward a far more final and brutal resolution just days later, rendering the commissioner's words a haunting footnote to the coming tragedy. As her marriage publicly disintegrated, Jennifer Gledhill was orchestrating a separate, secret life centered on an intense affair. This relationship was not a fleeting distraction, but a consuming alternate reality that provided an emotional exit she was unwilling to pursue through legal means. The existence of this lover created a powerful motive. Jennifer saw in him a future that her current marriage obstructed. In the critical days leading to Matthew's disappearance, her actions transitioned from secrecy to active preparation. On September 19th, in a moment loaded with ominous significance, she showed this man the firearm that would soon be used in a homicide, a loaded Glock 19X from her home. This act, perhaps intended to convey trust or a shared intimacy and secrecy, instead later served as a clear indicator of premeditation. Concurrently, Jennifer arranged for the couple's 3 children, aged 11, 7, and 5, to stay at her parents' house. Removing the children from the home was a practical and necessary step for what she planned, ensuring they would be absent during the violent act and its immediate aftermath. These calculated moves, securing the weapon and creating an empty, controlled environment, demonstrate a forethought that contradicts any notion of a spontaneous crime of passion. They point to a methodical mindset focused on eliminating the primary obstacle to her desired life. Meanwhile, Matthew, sensing the escalating tension and likely aware of the fractured trust, had begun to fear for his personal safety, opting to spend nights away from the family home at a National Guard facility, a tragic irony given the true source of the danger awaited him in his own bed. The collision of these converging forces, the failed protective order, the exposed affair, and Jennifer's preparations, occurred on the night of September 20th into the early hours of September 21st, 2024. A confrontation erupted after Matthew discovered evidence of Jennifer's infidelity. Witnesses reported hearing a heated argument emanating from their home, the culmination of months of acrimony. According to Jennifer's later account, Matthew was angry and yelled at her over the betrayal. Sometime after this argument, as the house fell silent and Matthew slept in their master bedroom, Jennifer acted. She retrieved a 9mm handgun and shot her sleeping husband in the head. The violence of the act was followed not by panic, but by a chillingly pragmatic series of actions. She placed Matthew's body into a rooftop storage container, a task that required physical effort. She then maneuvered this container down the stairs of her home and into the back of the family's minivan. In a deliberate attempt to mislead, she took Matthew's truck and abandoned it several blocks from their house, smashing his phone to sever digital trails. With her husband's body in the minivan, she then embarked on a northward drive out of Cottonwood Heights under the cover of darkness. Her destination was a secluded area where she excavated a shallow grave and buried Matthew Johnson, a soldier who had survived a decade of military service in an unmarked location that she alone knew. This methodical disposal was the second phase of her plan, intended to permanently remove both his presence and any immediate physical evidence from the vicinity of the crime scene. Returning home from burying her husband, Jennifer Gledhill immediately began the forensic dismantling of the crime scene. This process was extensive and targeted. She applied bleach to the walls of the master bedroom and used carpet cleaning supplies to address the bloodstains that had seeped through the bedding. The mattress, the central site of the murder, was so thoroughly contaminated that she could not clean it. Instead, she ordered a brand new replacement, which was delivered just days later on September 26th. This cleanup was a physical attempt to rewrite history, to erase the violent event from the domestic space. However, her most significant error was not forensic, but interpersonal. On September 22nd, just over 24 hours after the murder, Jennifer went to the home of her lover. Perhaps seeking solace, validation, or simply unable to contain the secret, she confessed to him in detail. She revealed she had killed Matthew, described disposing of his body, and outlined the steps she was taking to clean the house. During this conversation, the man noticed bruises on her body. When he asked about them, Jennifer explained with unsettling casualness that she had acquired them while burying Matthew and cleaning the evidence. Her calm, matter-of-fact delivery of these horrifying details terrified the listener. This confession transformed him from a co-conspirator in an affair into a witness to a homicide. His fear and subsequent decision to document her words would become the linchpin of the entire investigation, proving that her later story to police was a fabricated narrative constructed after the fact. In the days following her verbal confession, Jennifer continued to communicate with her lover. Profoundly disturbed by what he had heard, he made the decisive choice to record their subsequent phone conversations. These recordings captured Jennifer's unfiltered perspective and provided a devastating psychological profile. When the man expressed his fear of her, her response was detached and philosophically chilling. "Wow, if you think I could even hurt a fly, he's not a person. He wasn't a person anymore. He wasn't Matt." This statement revealed a profound dehumanization of her victim, a cognitive process that allowed her to rationalize the murder. Further dialogue exposed a disturbing worldview. Asked if she would be afraid if their situations were reversed, she replied, "Not if I deserved it," and elaborated by likening herself to the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, stating, "I'm like, off with their heads." She spoke of rounding up the scum of this earth to kill them all to fix the country. Most tellingly, she pleaded with him, "Don't think of me as a monster," a request that underscored her self-awareness of the monstrous nature of her acts while seeking absolution. The timing of these conversations was critically important. They occurred before Jennifer reported Matthew missing to police on September 28. On the tapes, she consistently referred to Matthew in the past tense, a verbal clue that she alone knew he was already dead, solidifying the prosecution's claim of premeditation and a conscious cover-up. On September 28, Jennifer Gledhill placed the call that officially initiated the law enforcement response, reporting her husband, Matthew Johnson, as a missing person. She provided a story to the Cottonwood Heights police. Matthew had said he would be gone for a week and told her not to call him. However, this narrative was already under scrutiny. The Utah National Guard, finding Matthew absent without leave from his duties since September 23rd, had independently begun inquiries into his whereabouts. The official police investigation, once launched, quickly encountered inconsistencies. Meanwhile, Jennifer's lover, burdened with the recorded confessions, formally contacted the authorities on October 2nd, providing them with the digital evidence that redefined the case from a missing person investigation to a homicide probe. Armed with this information, police executed a search warrant on the family home. Inside, detectives found a scene that starkly contradicted Jennifer's account of a husband who had simply left. In the master bedroom, a large blood stain was discovered hidden beneath the bed. Additional blood evidence was located on the slats of the bed frame. The entire room carried the pungent odor of bleach, and reddish-brown stains were visible on walls, the bed frame, and window blinds. Most conspicuously, the mattress was conspicuously new, a fact verified by delivery records. This physical evidence perfectly corroborated the step-by-step cleanup Jennifer had described on the tapes, dismantling her missing person story and painting a vivid picture of a violent crime followed by a deliberate concealment effort. The investigation's scope dramatically widened on October 24, 2024, with the arrest of Jennifer's parents, 71-year-old Thomas Gledhill and 67-year-old Rosalie Gledhill. They were each charged with 4 counts of obstruction of justice, accused of actively participating in the cover-up of their son-in-law's murder. Police alleged the couple had spent over 5 hours at Jennifer's home in late September, despite initially claiming a much shorter visit to simply collect clothing. Investigators discovered that Rosalie was the purchaser of the new mattress delivered to the home. Furthermore, she had her cell phone remotely reset, an action that permanently erased location and usage data from the critical period. During police interviews, Thomas Gledhill inadvertently revealed knowledge he should not have possessed, referring to the master bedroom as where the incident happened, a phrase that assumed a specific criminal event rather than a simple disappearance. In a subsequent search of the parents' home, investigators made a significant find: a Glock 19X pistol box, matching the gun Jennifer had shown her lover. It was discovered wrapped in a child's onesie and stored inside a plastic tote in a vicinity connected to Jennifer. These actions by her parents suggested a coordinated, familial effort to shield Jennifer, destroy evidence, and obstruct the search for truth, implicating them not as passive supporters, but as alleged active participants in the aftermath of a homicide. While the legal case against Jennifer and her parents developed, a parallel, heart-wrenching mission continued: the search for Matthew Johnson's body. Without his remains, there could be no full closure for his family or his military brothers. The search efforts, led by law enforcement but powerfully driven by Matthew's fellow Green Berets and volunteers, expanded into a massive, months-long operation. Over 70 searchers combed through rugged terrain across multiple northern Utah counties, from Davis and Weber counties up to Box Elder County near the Idaho border. The discovery of a storage container floating in water, which tested positive for Matthew's blood, provided a grim confirmation of part of Jennifer's confession but did not lead to his gravesite. For Matthew's friends and fellow soldiers, the prolonged search was a torturous duty of loyalty. Retired Guardsman Kevin Thompson, Matthew's close friend, stated the ongoing nature of the search keeps them up at night. Fellow Green Beret John Hash expressed profound betrayal, recalling how Jennifer had been a guest in his home, sharing meals. The military community, bound by an unbreakable creed to never leave a man behind, mobilized with a relentless determination to recover their comrade, transforming their grief and fury into a sustained physical campaign across the vast and unforgiving Utah landscape, a testament to the bonds forged in service. As of the latest proceedings, Jennifer Gledhill sits in the Salt Lake County Jail, having pleaded not guilty to a litany of charges including first-degree murder, obstruction of justice, abuse or desecration of a human body, and witness tampering. During a bail hearing, prosecutors argued she was a profound flight risk and a danger, revealing she had told her lover she would shoot herself before going to jail. The judge agreed, denying bail. Her trial is currently scheduled for December 8, 2025. A separate, complicating civil matter involves Matthew's $500,000 service member's life insurance policy from Credential. With Jennifer named as the beneficiary, but now accused of his murder, the court must adjudicate who rightfully receives the funds. The prosecution's theory is clear. Jennifer murdered Matthew to circumvent a costly and complex divorce, to secure her financial future, and to freely pursue her affair. Yet, haunting questions linger beyond the courtroom. How does a mother of 3 justify orchestrating the death of her children's father? Where exactly in the vastness of northern Utah does Matthew Johnson's body lie? His family has publicly pleaded for the location, hoping to finally lay him to rest with the honor he deserves. The case remains a stark tragedy of shattered trust, a family destroyed from within, and a sobering reminder that the most profound dangers can exist where we feel most safe.